troublesome trucks. The first time I worked with the troublesome trucks, they were tricky to handle. I didn't listen to Edward when he tried to tell me how much mischief they could cause. Thomas was tired of pulling coaches. I want to try something new, he would tell his friends in the sheds each night. The other engines didn't take much notice. They knew Thomas had a lot to learn. One night, Edward said kindly, "Why don't you take my trucks tomorrow and I'll pull your coaches?" "Oh, thank you, Edward," Thomas smiled. Edward warned Thomas that trucks were silly, noisy things that loved to play tricks on engines, but Thomas was too excited to listen. The next morning, Thomas cobbled up to Edward's trucks, but they didn't want to go. Come on, Thomas puffed, giving the trucks a hard little bump. "Ouch," they cried as Thomas pulled them onto the main line. Thomas was happy to be doing something new. Come along, he sang. All right, the trucks grumbled. They clattered through stations and rumbled over bridges. The trucks didn't like being bumped and waited for a chance to cause trouble. Thomas soon reached the top of Gordon's Hill. "Steady," warned his driver as he shut off the steam. Thomas puffed to a stop. No, said the trucks naughtily. Go on. Then, with an enormous shove, they pushed Thomas down the hill. Thomas raced down the steep hill at full speed. The trucks rattled and giggled behind him. "Stop pushing," Thomas wheezed, but the trucks would not stop. "Huff, huff, ho, you're too slow. We'll give you a push to help you go," they sang. Thomas could see the station at the bottom of the hill, but he was going too fast to stop. "Cinders and ashes," he cried. He whooshed straight past the platform. Everyone was surprised to see Thomas pulling a train of trucks and going so fast too. At the points, the line split into two tracks. Thomas turned off the main line and into a goods yard. Oh dear, Thomas moaned. His axles tingled as he skidded along the rails. He was heading straight for the buffers at the end of the track. Thomas was going to crash. His driver applied the brakes even harder as they rolled closer and closer to the buffers. Thomas shut his eyes. But there was no crash. Thomas opened one eye carefully. He had stopped just in front of the buffers, but next to the track was the Fat Controller, looking very cross. "Why did you come in so fast, Thomas?" the Fat Controller boomed. "The trucks pushed me," Thomas said sadly. "You must learn to make trucks behave," the Fat Controller told him. "Only then will you be a really useful engine." "Yes, sir," Thomas promised. The next day, Edward showed Thomas how to pull the trucks properly and keep them in line when they played their naughty tricks. Thomas stopped bumping them, except when they didn't behave. From that day, Thomas never complained about his coaches again. They were much easier to pull than those troublesome trucks.